Welcome to the conversation with James Jackson for his book, Living with Purpose. I know I'm so excited to have you all here today. I know James is excited to have you all here today. And for those of you all who don't know me, my name is Morgan Williams. I am a new Utahn. Is that right? New Utahn. Okay. I am an import from Chicago. I came here to both lead a technology company that builds software for trucking companies, as well as I just recently became a graduate of the University of Utah. So thank you. Thank you. So I am official Utahn. But the thing I'm most excited about is this conversation today. James and I know each other quite literally. He's like my brother from another. But James was a really great friend of my twin brother, Cameron Williams. And through the journey of losing Cameron and getting to know his community, James and I have become very close. And I will just start off by saying, James, I am so proud of you. Over the past couple years, I've had an opportunity to really get to know you, but in reading your book, it has really opened my eyes. And so, for those of you who have not read the book quite yet, let me give you a little just summary of this journey that James takes you on. So, living with purpose. James takes us through his lifetime journey of discovering his passion and leading in purpose. We all know him as a community steward, but James really challenges and inspires us all through the power of questions to consider who we are and who we are meant to be. He elevates the role of love and courage and leadership in shaping the course for us all to find and live with purpose in career, in business, and community, and life. And I am excited today to really have the opportunity to dig even further into the stories and lessons of transformation that you reveal in your book. And I know I have left inspired after reading, and I hope after this conversation and after reading, you too leave that way. So welcome, James.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's start off with a
Hello,
round of
everybody.
applause for the author.
Thank you. I'm still adjusting. No matter how much this journey I have taken, it's still awkward for me to have attention drawn towards me. So I'm starting to get used to it. Michelle tells me all the time, get used to this. Like, James, you put yourself out there, you signed up for it. So.
I mean, you wrote a book.
Yeah.
You wrote a book. So let's go ahead and get started. So the title of your book is Living with Purpose. Mm-hmm. And in the book, you really do describe purpose really as a manifestation as one's passion. But you're very clear and very distinct that passion and purpose are really two different things.
Yeah.
So can you just share a little bit more about why do you make the distinction between passion and purpose and how these concepts have guided your life's work?
Yeah, and that's kind of why, so when I started this business, J3, in 2016, my tagline was Live with Purpose, because I've always done things with intention. There's always a purpose behind everything I do. And so when I started writing this book, I was like, oh, why is it that I have this intention all the time? And it really just boils down to just the passion that I have that carries inside me. Like we're all passionate about something. We're passionate about a sport, a hobby. We're passionate about, a cause. And some of us, we find passion about our career or, what we do in life. But we never really ask ourselves, why are we passionate about that, right? Why are we passionate about, why is my youngest daughter passionate about playing soccer, right? Why am I passionate about being a community builder, right? This what is that drive behind us? It really goes down to our purpose, right? So as we're trying to figure out why are we here, right? That's the answer. It's so we're passionate about doing this, but why? You think about these athletes that go to, I talk a lot about sports in my book, right? Because I like sports and it's easy to relate. People start playing basketball or football, whatever, because they passionate. That's the skill that they carry, and they'll pour their heart out on the field or on the court for that. But why do they want to make it to the NBA or to the NFL? And you hear it in their story, right? Their mom did so much for them that they want to be able to give back, or they want to be an example that you can make it out of these trying circumstances. Or you think about the things that they do to give back to their community, providing schools and everything. They're putting purpose behind their passion. And so that's why it's so important to really have that distinction. A lot of people, we talked about this little, intertwine those together, but they're not the same thing, right? Your passion, if you think about it like a business, your passion is your mission, but your purpose is your vision, right? So when you go out there, this on the grind with your job, or, you're taking care of the family, right? So the overall outcome, or when you're taking care of the family, is like you want to be sure that your family is successful, right? And then you can be proud that they become the person that you help them to become. And so that's why it's so important they distinguish the two between passion and purpose.
Yeah, I love that. As I was reading, I felt like you set up passion to almost be an act of resilience. So when you go after something and it gets hard, it is your passion that is going to get you through those peaks and valleys.
Mm-hmm.
And then your purpose is the manifestation of that.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean and look like? I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. And take us through how, just a quick story about how in your personal life, in your career life, how has this manifested? How has your passion shown up, and how has your purpose shown up?
Without trying to tell the whole book to you, but in summary, right, I've always grew up pretty much shy and introverted. And I was that guy that just kind of just showed up for stuff and, just him-hawed. It wasn't like to be out in the crowd. I just kind of did the work, right? But it was my grandfather, James Jackson Sr., that kind of shed a light on certain things about me, and he's like, JC, because there's 3 James Jacksons, so we all have to, the third one has to have a nickname. And he's like, so I want you to speak at this church convention. And it's hard to say no, right, to your grandfather. I was like, okay. And I try to remember, I was like, I don't know why I wasn't nervous about it. Just prior to that, my grandmother gave me this big study Bible. I mean, it was a study Bible. You know what I mean? And so I was like, well, there I go. So I studied the Bible and tried to figure out how it all went down. And then I got excited about this, like, oh. And then when I started going to church, I started paying attention to the preacher. I was like, oh, so that's what I need to do. Okay. And so when I presented at that convention, I had like an epiphany. It's like, I like doing this. I can be in front of 1 million people and be fine. And 1 or 2 people, I can sometimes just be socially awkward about things. But you put me in front of a room, like I'm there, and I think it was just speaking in that Baptist Layman's Convention. I was like, the intent was to inspire. Like people felt so impacted by it. I was like, and I felt like there was this passion to inspire people. Like that's what I was driven to do. And then just through all these little journeys, getting into network marketing, I just wanted to inspire people that they could become better and have a better way of life through this certain program. And then, got introduced to Michael Stiles and the Black Chamber. And I was like, maybe that might be a better vehicle for me because then I don't feel like I'm pushing a product to somebody, And then that's where it's, over the time it's evolved to where like inspiring people and elevating people, created more of a bigger impact because everybody was serving its own community, right? Everybody wanted to give back to its community. And then of course meeting Michelle, who's always had the servant's heart, and community service was just her game all the time. I was, just paying attention to that, just all that just intertwined together. I was like, okay, so I can do this and then make a huge impact. And then I just got so passionate about just building this community, with the Black Chamber. Then it started evolving into other programs and other things. And now it's almost like an addiction. I just got to keep doing it.
I love that. I feel like you've elevated a few different points. One, the journey of figuring out what you should be doing, what is your passion, what is your purpose. You make it very clear. It's not just like a one day you wake up and you know this is my purpose.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I also appreciate how you talk about that there's mirrors in this journey. And sometimes it's people that are leading you. Sometimes it's people who love you, who are really mirrors to help you understand what your passion is. Your grandfather giving you that opportunity to come and speak at the convention, and how meaningful and pivotal that was. And so I love this because you, in your book, you do a lot to not just help elevate your own story, but also to help folks understand how they too can think about how they find their passion and purpose. And sometimes it is those mirrors of love and leadership that can help you do that. So thank you. So speaking of the journey, so you kind of talked about your grandfather, and if I recall, that was when you were about 10 years old.
13.
Okay, 10, 13. So you were a teenager.
Yeah, just barely.
Okay, and we know you're not a teenager anymore.
No.
And
Act like one sometimes.
And so it's amazing that you were so young to come into what your passion and purpose might be, but at the same time, that may not have always been true throughout your journey. And I think you do a really great job of speaking to that. And so I want you to talk about the point in your journey where there seemed to be a turning point, where you realize, I am not living in my passion. At 13, I discovered it, and now I'm at this point where I'm not living in it. And at this point, you really talk about how you made a decision, which, let me say that one more time. I know we have preachers in the room, so. So let me say that one more time. You made a decision that that you aspired for more. And in that decision, you identified the barriers that were keeping you from living the life you knew you wanted to live. So I want you to talk a little bit about how making a decision, and then also how knowing the barriers of your journey can actually be the catalyst you need to propel you forward into your purpose.
Yeah, I'll take you back a little bit into another story, and then that can help me explain it a little bit better. But there was this back way back in the early days of this world, there was this gentleman that was passionate, very, very, very passionate about his religion. So much that there was this other religion that was testing it. And once he saw that, he became so passionate about combating that one, that when he got his first taste of blood of killing someone, he was like, that's how I'm gonna solve this problem. So he went on a straight massacre of trying to assassinate every Christian that he could find, right? His name is Saul of Tarsus, am I right? Right? And so, go back to the preacher over there. And he was just on this mission, right? He was just passionate. He felt like that's where he's at, to show everybody that my religion is better than everybody's, essentially. Didn't give these other disciples, apostles, a chance, right? An opportunity. He's like, nope, you're a Christian, you're done, right? And it took he was on this journey to Damascus, and all of a sudden, there was this pivotal moment. And I like to call this pivotal moment of love, because I feel like we all need love in our life to guide us sometimes, to kind of, really just slap us in the face, to kind of tell us like, why? Help you figure out this purpose. And so God was like, that's my guy, and just hit him till he was blind, and knocked him down on his face into the sand, and came up, and all of a sudden, a light went off for him, and totally flipped the script. So now his passion was reversed. So he became arguably the strongest apostle Jesus ever had, right? And I feel like it's in those moments where we sometimes get so passionate about what's uncomfortable that we don't even know it's uncomfortable, because we're just going through these motions of life. And then it takes this pivotal moments where we see this breakdown, whether it be at work or it be at home, or just in my circumstances, sometimes in your bank account, you're like, something just ain't right. And you just need this like wake up call. And it takes these people that love you, that surround you, to like, James, come on. It's time to help you get that light shine on you. So, whether it be my grandfather or it'll be Michelle or it'll be even just our kids or whomever, those are these pivotal moments where it let you know, it's like, okay, going back to my purpose, right? What am I trying to accomplish? Well, I want to inspire others. Is this the path that's really going to help me do that and build others? Then if not, then I'm looking in the eyes of those that I care about the most. I'm like, all right, I have to figure out how to change this up and move forward.
Can you talk a little bit about that? You do this in the book, but that very personal moment for you when you said no more, and you knew that in order to move forward, you needed to go, well, I don't want to steal your thunder, but from school to change your career, all of that, you made a decision to do that.
Yeah.
And I really want to make sure those who haven't had a chance to read the book understand who you are in those pivotal moments that you just discussed.
Yeah. There's a few that I share in the book, but one of them, when you talk about school, is I recently divorced, really down on myself. I was like, I don't know how I became that guy. Got to figure this out. But I had a dream, right? This light that comes into me. And this dream was weird because I'm still in this network marketing business, and I'm driving to my next appointment, and traffic at a standstill. So I had to call my appointment, let them know I'm running late. And I started thinking, when you're stuck in traffic, mind wanders because you ain't going very far. I started thinking about, man, is this business really right for me? I don't know. Like, things are just slow right now. My life is whatever. It's like something needs to change. And a light bulb went off about going back and get my master's degree. And I was like, well, how do I get my master's degree? I'm too lazy for that because this is like 7 years past my bachelor's already. I was like, But then I remember about online school, and back then the game was University of Phoenix. Like, they're the only game in town at the time that did like online school. It's like, I can go there. And I don't think they even require the GMAT, so I don't have to study or anything. I was like, I'm in. And I think my work pays half. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So, I don't know how many of you respond to certain dreams that you have, but that one I will never forget. And as soon as that clicked, in this dream, I end up in the emergency lane, and I'm on a bicycle. And rather than me like pedaling, I'm just pushing it. And I look, I'm still passing every single car. And I saw my exit just right there. And at that moment I woke up. I was like, all right, I hear you. So I went into work the next day, started doing some research, and I think it was about 3 weeks later, I enrolled in the master's program, University of Phoenix, got my degree a year and a half later. And it was right after that, I met Michelle.
Wow. Look at that. When you are living in your purpose, it's career transitions and love transitions. I love it. I love it. So one other thing that you really talk about is that the journey of purpose, you have this ability to discover things within yourself, but then also you are able to give things to others as I'll put in quotations, as gifts of the journey. And I want to have you talk a little bit and take us through what are some of the greatest gifts that you have learned for yourself in this journey of discovering your purpose, and what are some of the gifts that you've been able to give others as well?
This is one of the hardest questions. I think when I was going through these questions, like, man, she is trying me. This is like the question I was thinking about all the way here. So one that really popped in my head was, I believe that we all have a story to tell to inspire others. When I talked about writing this book a decade ago, I didn't really know what I wanted to write about at the time. And I attended a lot of conferences and everything about writing the book. Everybody has a story to tell. I was like, I don't know if my story's that cool yet. And, you know, and I think we're always our own biggest critics, right?
Yes.
And the editor actually, I was telling someone this a little bit earlier, the editor came back after I wrote this other book, says, James, this is too self-empowering. You're not talking about yourself more. I was like, all right. But then actually when I started writing about myself, then I started to understand. I was like, oh, I do have a story to tell, right? And I feel like we all have these certain backgrounds and experiences. And we have friends, we have family. We love hearing everybody's story because we can learn from each other, the good, the bad, and the ugly about all of us to help us even do better. And sometimes we do this unconsciously. It can be at a get together with friends or family, and we hear about this story. We're like, it either compels us or it repels us. Like, okay, that's my guy. I was like, oh, I'm not talking to that person anymore, right? And we learn from these experiences. So I think one thing is like we all have a story to tell. And secondly, I think we're all gifted with a vision. We all wake up every day with some sort of dream in our head of what we want to be. And for some reason, we keep pushing that dream back and further back because we don't feel like we're capable of doing it. For some reason or other, either through our current circumstances or through our experiences or just through what people say to us that breaks us down enough to we feel like that we're not worthy or capable enough to live this out. And, this still comes to me to this day. But when I get into the work, like it all comes together for me, and it just works. And so I feel like through this book, I hope to inspire others to like, those visions are in your head for a reason, right? So think about that. Like they don't just come to you. It wasn't the TV that gave you that vision. It's not the reason why it stayed in your head, off and on throughout your life. It's there for a reason. Now it's up to you to figure out like, how do I achieve this vision? And you have to also realize that one of these greatest gifts are your relationships. Like social capital is the best capital you can ever have. And understand like who you know and what you can accomplish. And this book really pushed me for that. Right? My publisher says, James, I want you to reach out to people to read the manuscript. And I think in my head like, okay, I'll have family and friends. He's like, no, James, you're founder of the Utah Black Chamber. Who do you know that can give you a good testimonial? I was like, well, I don't know if they have time to read this. Right? So I was like, it's like, what are they gonna do? Say no? So I sent this out to like 20 people.
Wow.
Just to see who would respond. I was like, I just threw it out there. Just had this good little script that my publisher helped me do, and I just copy and pasted, tweaked it a little bit for, make it personal, right? And who's the testimony right on the front cover there?
Well, let's see. Scott Anderson, president and CEO of Zions Bank.
He gave me that testimonial.
Yeah.
He sent it to me twice just to be sure I got it because he was in France. And wanted to be sure I got it before the deadline. And he was a week early.
I love it.
So we all have a story to tell. Believe in that vision that you have. And know that one of your greatest gifts is the social capital that you have around you. And just understand that, and I'm still learning this every day, it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
And you have this, people are surrounded by you for this reason. Not sure how much I go in depth in the book, but John Maxwell talks about these 5 levels of leadership, right? There's this position, there's permission, and there's production, right? As the 3rd level. And that's kind of where my mindset was. It's like, I became here because I produced. People came to me because I was part of the GSD club, right? I just got it done. So, but it took me a while to understand that, okay, I went from production to people and then adapting now to this pinnacle level because of who I am and what I represent And what that represents to me is like how I can share, my vision with others to say, it is possible. Because if I did this, then anybody can really do this. Just take advantage of your story, the visions that are in your head, and the people that you're surrounded with. And if the people you're surrounded by are not helping you with that vision, then it's time to move forward. If you can't change the people around you, it's time to change the people around you.
Say that one more time.
If you can't change the people around you, you have to change the people around you.
I love that. That's really powerful. And one thing you said, I am a builder and I did the work. And I think that's really, really important. And as you have built a lot, and you have done the work. And it is beautiful that, we could all find our passion and purpose. That sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But when you do, there's a responsibility in that. And you talk a little bit about the responsibility of what it means to recognize that Utah needs a Black chamber, to recognize that different boards need your type of leadership, to recognize that the bank needed your type of programming, and things of that nature. But with that discovery, again, comes accountability. And you go into depth about how once you discover, you have to make sure you have the capacity and endurance around you to really make that happen. So for all of us here on the journey, and be careful when you discover it, how do we make sure we have the capacity to move our purpose forward and the endurance to continue to live in it?
In this day and age, I feel like we lose sight of what we can truly endure because we all have a servant's heart in some way, right? And so we look to others to serve. And sometimes we don't think about how we're serving ourselves, and we overcapacitate, we over-endure, we just overdo it a lot. I've been there, done that. So I'm always constantly now, more than I have previously, checking myself to be sure, like, do I have it in me to do this? I've learned to say no more. Believe it or not, I do say no on some things. Probably still more yes than I need to, but I do say no. I'm learning. I'm getting better and better at saying no. I was asked for like 2 different boards over the last couple of weeks. I was like, no, that don't work for me.
Did Michelle inspire that at all?
She has a little something to do with that for sure.
Practices no on me now.
Oh, no.
No, but but what I've managed to do now is going back to the people that I'm surrounded with and identify their strengths. So I talk about, I know how to play chess. I just don't play it well, but I understand how to play it, right? But I feel like I know how to play the chess of life. I know where my pieces are, my players, right? Just say not pieces, but I know where my players are on this board. And I position them and myself in certain ways to accomplish things. And I'm always thinking 4 or 5 moves ahead. People may not understand why it makes sense now. I was like, you'll get it. And I'll take them through the moves. They're like, is that really going to work? I was like, well, of course. It's in my head. I'll figure it's going to work. It doesn't matter what the other players are going to do, but here's my agenda. Here's how I'm going to make things move. I'm going to move here. This person's going to do this, and it's all going to work out, right? And so I'm definitely leaning on that a lot more. Additionally, I do have a very strict routine in the morning. I feel like I need to do something in the morning that sets me on a good path. And if I don't accomplish those steps, I'm thrown off a little bit.
What does that routine look like?
I have like a 3-hour routine in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wake up, really just kind of think about my day. I I got to get better at doing my writing. I have like a little 5-minute journal, right? And the 5-minute journal just talks about, what I'm grateful for, what I plan to accomplish, and like writing an affirmation. I'm trying to get better at it. I don't do it every day. And sometimes I'm thinking about it while I'm working out. It's like, then I never go back to it. But what started for me, exercising. At first, it was just because I was small. It's like I need to add some size to me, you know?
Know thyself.
Yes, because, when I was growing up, being like one of the few black men in school, and just quiet and introverted, like, I was, a bullseye for bullying, right? So I was like, I had to, so I wanted to add some size on me. So I got into that, and I was like, all right, got that workout routine in. Then I started really diving in and love to start reading. So network marketing, if anything, gave me the routine of personal development and just started reading books. So if you're ever on a Zoom call with me and all the books behind me, I've read 90% of those books. There's probably like 100 of them back there. And a lot of them I've read more than once because I felt so compelled to like read that again. Because I don't just read books just to read books. I read books so I can apply it to my life. And that's why I've always become a fan of John Maxwell, because all of his books are about leadership, or most of them, right? And that's where I aspire. If I'm going to grow people, I want to grow their influence. I want to grow their leadership. That's all. And I love how he just teaches. Like, it's so easy to learn. He's a former pastor, and for me, just growing up with a pastor, like, it's so easy for me to just digest what he's talking about. And so I went from working out to reading, and then just get ready for the day, right? Whether I'm leaving the house or not, I'm gonna shower, I'm gonna get ready, whether it's even just some gym shorts and a t-shirt. Like, if I need to go out and do something, I can, right? I just get that out of the way, and then I can just focus, right? And then for some reason, I don't know what happened, but I was like, I need a clean kitchen.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there or why. I like to cook. I don't do most of the cooking in the house. I'm always good for a backup, or we share responsibilities a lot. But I gotta have the clean kitchen. I don't know what it is. So once that's done and out the way, then I thought, all right, I can move on with my life. And by that time, 8 o'clock hits, and then I'm ready to dive into the day. I usually do like 30, 45-minute workout routine. And then right after that, I gotta break out my Bible app and do some daily devotion with my, within there to get me some inspiring words and just have some time to myself to meditate or pray and get things moving. But yeah, that's like my routine in the morning.
I love that. And I think we could all take something away from that. And I also love that you spend 3 hours with yourself in the morning. I might have to start.
Us introverts, we need time by ourselves.
Yes, and for the record, I am an introvert, even though I'm sitting here.
It's like that time.
Stage interview.
Those times by ourselves are so precious. Like, because if I don't have that time like by myself, I can't be there for others as much as I want to be. Because I've sacrificed that time that I needed for others, but then at the same time, I've also sacrificed my commitment to them through sacrificing my time for me.
I love that.
If that makes sense.
And let's talk a little bit about you being there for others. In your book, you really articulate one of the most significant roles that you've played in leadership in Utah is your role in building out the Utah Black Chamber of Commerce. And as a leader of this, you have a unique perspective given you are both a native of Utah, a Black man native of Utah, as well as a leader of an organization that is trying to attract more Black folks into the fold of Utah. And I think about myself. As I mentioned, I moved here from Chicago about a year ago. And I remember when I went to my Chicago family and said, I'm moving to Utah. Okay, well, that pretty much was the sentiment. But really it was both a what of a surprise. I will be frank, people ask, do Black people live in Utah? And then there was also a very real fear in that decision. In terms of, is Utah going to be safe for you emotionally? And then also, and will it take care of you? I mean, there were real conversations down to where am I going to get my hair done? I have no idea. And you really elevate in the book how my story is not limited to me, but this is a very real story. And so I'm curious, as a Black man from Utah, what is the truth of some of what people are elevating? Let's start there. What do you see as truth? And I will ask about what is myth as well. So that's
Yeah.
coming. Why are these stories the way that they are?
I was just talking to Michelle this earlier. Like, I can sell Utah all day long for a Black person. Like, that's easy for me. But I got a LinkedIn message from someone who he and his wife moved to Atlanta. His wife worked for Channel 4 and then moved on to CNN and worked it there. And they had a child, and now they're considering moving back and just want to know, hey, we know if any place is hard for Black people, it's here, but we want to be part of that change, and we want to talk to you about it and see, you know, if we can come back. And I was like, I struggle with that piece because for a Black professional, it's easy to adapt here. I think we have an incredible Utah culture overall. One, there's only 3 million people in this whole state. So it's like 2 degrees of separation. So it's easy to connect with people. Like, give yourself a good week, and if you're out there making it happen, I mean, we have Richard Leverett back there. He knows more people than I do. And he's been here less than you have. You know what I mean? So it's easy to really connect here, right? And know where the happening is. If you're a young professional, you just have to be patient with the social life aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly if you're, single, right? It takes a while to figure out how singlehood, the life of a single person works here, right? Once you're patient enough, then you get it and you know how to connect. And you can't beat the economy here. Like, there's opportunities here. Utah knows what's going down. They know the economics when they add diversity to any company or school or whatever. But when you bring in a child into this state, I feel like a used car salesman still. Like, that's a hard sell for me. There's still a lot going on within our public school system that we're battling still to this day. And that is the highest attrition within the Black community, is those families with Black children. And I struggle still to this day on selling them on that because I don't have Black children, right? So I can't just speak from experience. I can speak from my experience of what it was, but being a parent, it's a whole different ballgame, right? And so for my story, I was like, you know what? Opportunities here are incredible, right? But it does take some time to figure out how to navigate the challenges of the school system, and we are working through it. There is opportunities. We are working with legislators. We are working with the schools. We're doing a lot of great things within the Chambers Foundation. There's other youth programming organizations are doing awesome things, like Curly Me, and there's Rise Academy, and so many organizations that are really stepping up. Like, we know it's hard, but here are some solutions, right? And so there's several other organizations that are stepping up, and hopefully over time it does become easier.
Yeah, and I love that, and I appreciate that. And I do share with my family. I know what the onset of the conversation was, but there is a reason why I stay, why we stay, and it is the opportunity that's available here, and also in large part the community, and frankly the community that you have built and shown me. And so I am curious, with your work through the Utah Black Chamber, you are challenging quite a few of these narratives about what Utah is not for the Black community. And what role do you really have you seen the Chamber play in actually building and helping to really challenge these narratives?
Really, we just became that community hub. Yeah. And started directing, really just directing people and navigating people. When we first started, I did get like all out passionate like Saul did. I was like, we're going to do everything because we got to get everybody connected. I don't know where the small businesses are, but I know where Black people are. We're going to figure this out. But then that started backfiring because everybody did come to us. Once we started identifying our lane, like, no, James, we're just small business. We can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. I'm like, all right, I get it. I was a little too aggressive. Got to dial it back. It's going to take some time, though, because people are still coming to us a lot of things. Matter of fact, someone came to us to help us with the health crisis. I was like, that's not us. But what was great is that, you know what? We know an organization that can assist with that, and got them connected to, the Black Physicians of Utah. Right? And so what we can appreciate now is that while we created this hub, we also created nearly just like this community ecosystem where, yeah, you can come to us for everything, but we're not going to do everything because we have 60 something nonprofit members that have all these resources that are awesome that you can go to get the help that you need or support you need or guidance, what have you.
I love that. Thank you. Well, James, you have mentioned several times that you are a chess player and you think 5 steps ahead. So, given that, what's next?
It was funny. The chamber was never something I wanted to run forever. For some reason, I thought I could put a 5-year plan in place and pass it on.
How long have you been running the chamber?
It was 14 years before I finally passed it on to somebody, and probably could have passed it on 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
But 2020, I was just trying to survive that process, right? Just trying to just go through it, and then finally, when things started to slow down for me, I was like, okay, I think we can do this now. So I never wanted to run it forever. And the reason why is because I knew the chamber can be bigger than what I can put into. I think a lot of times when we think about our visions that we have, we think our vision just has to be just us. But it's not always that case. And I think that's sometimes why we feel like we don't pursue it. Maybe we're just that seed planter. Maybe we're not meant to be the one that takes advantage of the harvest, right? And so that's how I felt with the chambers. Like I know that this chamber can do a whole lot more. I just need someone with more experience. I need someone that can see this vision and take it forward. Just didn't know where that person was going to come from, but I knew we'd find it eventually. Then after that, I can go back to where I'm most comfortable is like something like this, where I can just cast my vision out to others, to inspire others, to teach others, not be put into a certain lane of focus, right? Where I have this lane here. And that's what J3 is about. Like this is my business I've had since 2016, and it's on the shelf, off the shelf, on the shelf, off the shelf as needed, right? But now I feel like I have a little more bandwidth that I can take advantage of this, that I'm going to start moving forward with my business. And it's really just about going back and elevating others. So if you go to my website, jamesjackson3.com, you'll see some of the training that I do. I also do customized type training. And through this book, I'm launching my masterminds again. Right? So I have a mastermind coming up. And the mastermind is basically just small group of individuals coming together to go along the journey with each other to discover an outcome of a certain theme. So whether it's, trying to elevate my leadership, or whether it's I need to, elevate my small business, and with this one, it's like I need to really elevate my purpose. I'm looking to discover my passion. I'm looking to really take more charge of my life. I think a lot of times we allow life to control us instead of us controlling our life, right? And so I refuse to let life control me. I think a lot of times we just let life just, we're like, Jesus, take the wheel. We just let go sometimes, right? We're like, oh, I can't do it. You just let me know when we get there, right? But that's not me. God doesn't want you to be that. He wants you on this wheel, right? Because he put these gifts and skills and abilities into you. It's like, no, I gave you the vehicle, you take this wheel.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'll be there to shift, I'll be there to brake, I'll be there to gas, I'll be there to steer, but be on the wheel so you can understand where we're going,
Yes.
right? Where we're going, right? It's important you say we're, not just where I am or where he's taking me, where we're going. Because you have to be with that too. You just can't just take your hands off and let it go, right? And so that's what this mastermind is all about coming up. I'm doing an in-person one and a virtual one. The in-person one is just going to be down this hill right here at the Ken Garff Scholarship Club, or they kind of like Ken Garff University Club. I don't know, they keep changing their name. But it's going to be there. It's an 8-week we're meeting in the morning, but it's a full-on class, taking about 10 people, 10 inspiring minds. So I have a QR code here because I'm offering an event discount. If you really feel like, you know what, yeah, I want to take more charge of my life. I want to elevate my leadership. I feel like I have a passion. I feel like there's a vision in my head. I just need to get to it. Come to this mastermind. And it's not just me instilling in you, but you have a group of people. And I'm just facilitating a discussion and coaching people through how to identify how to elevate your purpose. That way, it's not just me and you. You know, there's 8 to 11 of us really diving in and helping you discover really about who you are and what you want to become. So it doesn't matter whether you're a college student or you're near retired. I think this mastermind is for anybody because we all have these pivotal moments in life. It's like, I wish I would have done this. Well, it's not too late. You're still here. You're still upright, right? And so take advantage of it now. It's never too late to do that. And so I'm excited about, this mastermind. There's a lot of, Morgan mentioned that there's a lot of reflective questions in the book. And so we're going to use those reflective questions within this mastermind to help you determine like, all right, this is the path I'm going to go here, or this is the path I'm going to go there. And so starting out with these masterminds, I'll have some like full day classes coming up after this. Then I have some other workshops that I'm going to start doing. I'm doing corporate training. I've had a lot of different clients over the last dozen years down, like Orem City, Alpha Graphics, Orange Theory, City Home Collective, like a lot of small businesses, big businesses that I've done training for. So I'm just going to start diving into that a lot more. And just do more of an impact, right? Still be the community building on the side, but it's more like building something to a point where then I can start passing it on. Like once Sydney took over the chamber, that kind of got addicting. I was like, oh, so you don't need me for that? All right, that's cool. What else doesn't need me anymore? How can I get to that level? I was like, because I've always had a side hustle since college. Since I graduated college, I've always had a side hustle. I don't know what it's like to have one job. Never. I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know how people live that life. That seems flat out boring to me. Honestly, I was like, I'm always want to be engaged in something. So anyways, that's where I'm moving next, is really launching fully my J3 business and just really diving in. I'm starting out with this mastermind here. The virtual one is really geared towards people nationwide that really can't be in person, but if you feel like your time schedule works better for you to do a virtual one, it's great. But of course the in-person ones always work out best, always work out better. I feel like, how many of you like really think you're getting something out of the same, how many of you really feel like you're getting the same, for those who go to church, really getting that same impact watching church online than when you go to church, right? I tried church online. I end up changing the channel. Or I'm zoning out, or I'm multitasking, or I'm doing something. So I told Michelle, I was like, I gotta go back. I ain't gonna lie, Pastor, I missed 8 o'clock service. Because 11 o'clock service is hard for a brother these days. But I'm there, right? I'm there, I show up. But, a little bit of adjustment, but I gotta be there because the nourishment is greater. So anyways, I love the in-person stuff, but if you feel like the virtual works out best for you, then definitely do that. But I'm looking forward to doing those mastermind events. So all that information on the website. I got QR code happy. So, because I'm trying to be eco-friendly here. So I try not to print so much. So, we all have our devices these days. You can just scan it and look at all that information and just register. And
the QR codes are available on the table and then also.
Yep, they're on the tables, they're on the screens. And then there's also one that I leave even more. Some of you even use that as a coaster too, which is totally fine. Be sure you scan that QR code after you read it. So, that way you can leave me a review on Amazon, because I definitely would like to see your thoughts on this book as well. Yeah, but that's the next step
All
for
right.
me.
Well, I am so excited for everyone else to get the opportunity to engage with your book, Living with Purpose, and a few sneak peeks. There's even James's playlist. Hold on, a Spotify playlist in the back. So please check that out. And then also to learn more about him and all the amazing things that he's done, please check out his bio. I know I learned so much about you, your leadership, through this book, from little things to you had hair.
Yes, I did have hair. Sometimes I miss it, sometimes I don't.
I love that. I love that part. But seriously, since a young man, you have been such a dynamic voice, a leader, and a champion for and in Utah. And it was so inspiring learning about your story. And you've done so much for so many. And so just thank you. As your sister friend, and as someone who's come here, and you're a big part of why I stay here. I just want to say thank you. So let's give
Appreciate it.
James a round of applause.
Thank you.